Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wealth Down. With me, Norbert PM, your host and portfolio manager here at Wealth Down. Let's get into the topics of today. Harris versus Trump debate had some interesting results. Oracle had its earnings yesterday, also GameStop, but Oracle had a major jump in its price. Let's take a look why it did. Also, all prices and crypto are having a downturn. So before we do that, let's take a look at today's markets. Here are the economic events of today. We're going to see later in the day the current inflation rate month to month and year to year, and also the core inflation rate come out for the US markets. In the week ahead, we're going to have for the ECB a interest rate decision where we're expecting for them to cut 25 basis points again. And also we have the PPI number coming out tomorrow for the US, that is. Then on Friday, we're going to have Michigan's consumer sentiment, and that's pretty much it for the week. Now, looking back on yesterday, the markets had a pretty good rally going into the debate. Then it fell down a bit, and the futures point towards a much lower opening today, much weaker opening, with futures pointing downward roughly minus 38 basis points. So yesterday, Nasdaq closed up with roughly 90 basis points upwards, the S&P 500 closed down with 45 basis points upwards, and the Dow Jones Industrials closed down on a negative 23 basis points. On the commodities part, we're seeing a bit of trouble in the oil sector, with gold pointing upwards, silver pointing upwards, also copper pointing upwards, but gold is still throttling around there due to basically too much supply and less demand on the markets. We're seeing here that on the 11th of September, it's pretty much down to $66 on the barrel. The foreign exchange markets, euro pointing upwards, British pound pointing upwards, the yen pointing downward in regards to the US dollar, that is. Cryptocurrencies are looking downwards today. It could have something to do with the Trump-Harris debate from yesterday. You can see here, right when the debate started, it tried to jump, it tried to climb up, then it went down, down, down as the debate got further in, and it was pretty much clear in which direction the debate is heading. We're going to talk more about that in the upcoming topics. We have no significant earnings today, so I'm going to jump over this part. And now let's go to one of our main topics, and that is the Harris and Trump debate. And here are some key takeaways. Now, mainly the debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and the former President Donald Trump was a heated affair. And here are some key takeaways from there. So the proceedings began with an awkward handshake, as most of you saw. Otherwise, it went ahead relatively smoothly because the candidate's microphone were basically muted. Well, Harris did enter the debate with more to gain than lose and had some pretty good arguments. Her composed performance saw her land a severe blow to her adversary. She focused particularly on Donald Trump's effort to overturn the 2002 election results, and she also addressed the abortion rights and race problems with Trump. Trump repeatedly sought to turn the conversation to the economic and immigration side, but failed mostly. The former president also said he would not sign a federal abortion ban. He refused to admit his loss on the 2020 vote. So Trump, same as ever. Then Harris' campaign swiftly called for a second debate, feeling much powerful after this debate. Now let's get to Oracle, because Oracle yesterday had a massive jump, experiencing a rebound in booking growths, strategic applications, and cloud infrastructure revenue in the first quarter. This happened despite the pressures of gross margins and a lag in billing growth. Now, of course, this information is according to Morgan Stanley. As you can see in the diagram, they jumped from 140 to 155, which is more than a 12% jump in just one day, which is in the current market situation extremely rare, as you saw in the past earnings season. So revenue growth for the company was strongly driven by licensed and cloud services figures. Morgan Stanley raised its price target on Oracle stock to $145. The rating remains equal weighted. At least 20 other analysts also boosted their price targets. So Oracle came in with a earnings of 1.39 from a estimated of 1.33. This was a 4.83%. It was a 4.38% surprise. And then a revenue growth from a estimated 13.23 billion to a 13.30 billion. billion with a 0.56% surprise. Oracle's Q1 adjusted earnings and revenue exceeded estimates, and Oracle is one of those companies you have to keep your eyes on for the future. Now let's talk about Crude, because Crude tumbled on global energy demand concerns. Crude oil and gasoline prices dropped significantly, with crude hitting the 16-month low, being currently at $66 a barrel, which is a pretty low price for oil and gasoline. And gasoline also is at a 3.5 years low, influenced probably by a strong dollar and a weaker than expected demand from China. Now, Morgan Stanley cuts its Brent crude price forecast to $75 on a barrel in Q4. Now, with mixed Chinese trade data, it shows a weaker import but stronger export, a decline in crude stored in tankers, and OPEC Plus pause on production hikes also provided support, but potential resumption on Libyan crude production and increased Russian production pose risk. The US crude inventories and production remain stable while active US rigs were unchanged. Now, I have here a really interesting diagram which you definitely take a look at. This right here is crude adjusted prices to inflation dating from 1950 to today. And what you can see that adjusted to inflation, crude prices are almost the same and as in the 2000. Okay, we did have here a big crisis, which are these gray lines, but adjusted to inflation, I can conclude that oil is a bad investment. Now, the producers do fluctuate in price. The producers, the drillers, the refineries, they do fluctuate in price with profits, but it is only made possible by technology, which was, for example, fracking, and by the supply cap that was imposed on oil. So I would conclude here that oil is a bad investment and is more a speculative asset. So in conclusion, we expect the volatility to continue through the month of September and heading into October. Most likely after the elections are over, we're going to see a bit of a Santa Claus rally, then peaking somewhere in January, February, and then have another decline. Now, none of this is financial advice. Don't trade any kind of stocks based on what you're seeing or hearing here. Please do your own research when trading or investing. With this being said, my name is Norbert BM. Wishing you a lovely day. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and also click that notification bell in order to get notified whenever we will post new videos like this. Take care. Goodbye.